Hi, good day everyone. My name is Jansy and I'm part of the group 5 and I am assigned to tackle and make discussions about process consultation. So let me start by giving a definition to process consultation. Alright, so process consultation as defined by Edgar Schein, he mentioned that it is the creation of a relationship with the clients that permits the client to perceive on the process of events that occurs in the client's internal and external environment in order to improve the situation as defined by the client. He also then stresses that the process consultant's role is one of helping groups rather than directing their members with expert advice. The focus is on the group's processes such as communication and leadership, especially in areas that members are not aware of but that adversely affects them achieving their goals. The process of consultation generally follows that of action research. So when we say action research, it actually defines as the most or someone who is doing multitasking jobs. Yeah, they are actually that what we call a freelancing or having those kind of freelancing jobs. All right. So let me also add a definition into it. So process consulting is a model of consultation based on mutual helping relationships. So it is based on a client and consultant relationship as propounded by Dr. Edgar Schein. It also started as a practice during the late 20th century as a consulting work in which the consultants work with the client and not for the client. So this constitutes the fundamental philosophy of process consulting. In process consultation as well, there is no one management expert who comes up with an off-the-shelf solution for the client. Rather, the consultant and the client indulges into a participatory process from diagnostics to implementation in finding out a solution that specifically applies to the said client system organization. So the key aspects of mutual participation and specificity makes the process consultant's methodology a powerful management consultancy tool. Alright, so and this actually, or process consultation is actually work or done by a process consultant. So what is a process consultant? A process consultant is a highly qualified professional that has insights into and understand the psychological and social dynamics of working with various clients, systems such as a whole organizations, group, and individuals. As well as what I've mentioned earlier, those persons who's having freelancing jobs can be considered as a process consultant because they are actually doing multitasking jobs. A process consultant or most clients who's having consultancy about this matter actually refers to some freelancers because they can easily adapt into the process, and also if they don't need the service already, they can easily terminate them. That's how clients makes up work in the process consultation. Also, a process consulting is a powerful tool which is used to enhance group effectiveness, shorten meeting times, and address conflict. It helps teams to work together more effectively, and its effects can last longer after the consultant has departed. Alright, so here's the job of a process consultant. So what does a process consultant do? So in an organization development, a process consultant is a specialized type of consultant who acts as a facilitator to help group deals with issues involving the process in a meeting rather than with the actual task themselves. Alright, so as according to the job description of the process consultant, they are the one who plans, who organizes and monitor those pre-implementation of the jobs, which is having deliverables and process improvements initiative identified by the client. So whatever information is being meant by the client, they should work with it, and they should follow they should follow the instructions that the client really needs, and also there is a possibility that as a freelancing process consultant, there's a possibility that you might exceed the expectation of the client. And also, working with other teams to manage alignment between company processes and business objectives so as to optimize the business performance, right? And so how does process consultation help in organizational development? So process consultations aims at improving the interpersonal and group procedures used by administrators, teachers, students, and parents to reach their educational objectives. It also focuses primarily on the how of interpersonal and group interactions rather than on the what of their content. Process consultants consequently deal with such phenomena as the patterns of communication, successful and unsuccessful influence attempts, underlying tensions, and the decision-making procedures as a process consultant. So, success of the process consultations would be measured in terms of how effectively the recipients, whether they are educators, students, or parents, in working together, reaching their respective objectives. So it depends on the work done with respect to the process consultation, right? So here, the consultant's success is determined by how effective the recipients are in defining their problems and goals, which may, for example, have to do with the content of or a program of a remedial reading. Thus, the process consultant provides help with methods of communication and problem solving and with procedures for planning, decision making, and implementing. So, the recipients of the consultative help provides the substantive issues, problem, goals, and plans for the actions. Once again, it depends on how the consultant do the process based on the expectation of the client. Right. So next will be focus of a process consultant. So there are two main focuses of a process consultant. So the first focus is to build a relationship. Building a relationship isn't easy, most especially when you can figure out what are the necessary things that you need to do. Well, basically, as well, when you don't understand the situation, there is no way for you to resolve that problem. Alright, so second is also helping the client figure out what they should do about the situation. So you are actually helping the client not just to resolve the issue by themselves, but also to guide them and to give them additional or give them an option or give them any opinions that you have, any positive opinions that you have, or it might lead into positivity of answering or resolving the situation or any problem causing. Alright. So let me give you a example on building a relationship. Alright, so building a relationship. In building a relationship, first is permitting the consultants and client to deal with the reality. So you must have to be very accurate of all the information that you'll be needing to supply to the client. All the gatherings of information and necessary data should be accurate, and there is no additional information that might lead into inaccuracy of the business. Right. Second is remove the consultants' areas of ignorance. So even though they are clients and they need consultants to do the job, it doesn't mean that they are ignorant at all. They just need your help, right? And also there are some clients who really doesn't know who doesn't know the job or who doesn't know how to figure it out. So that's why they hire a process consultant for them to make life easier and to make their hours like they wanted their hour to be spent, or they wanted their time to be spent well. So that's why most clients are hiring process consultants to be more knowledgeable than them, right, and to do the process as well. Third is acknowledge the consultant's behavior as being always an intervention. Next is all of the above in the service of giving the client's insight into what is going on around them. So again, accuracy is must. Second focus of a process consultant. Second focus is to help the client figure out what they should do about the situation. Alright, so first focus about the helping the client is, first, clients must be helped to remain proactive. Okay, so even if, or what do you call this, even if they are needing the service of a process consultant, they should need to be proactive, because as a work of a process consultant, they are also needing some information, or they might be needing some additional information from the client in order for them to easily resolve the situation, or to easily resolve any matter regarding situation that needs consultation, or needs process consultation. Second is clients must own the problem. So whatever problem that may create, or whatever problem that your client has, it is still their problems and not yours. But you're showing just an empathy about them, or you basically, we as a Filipino, we are actually showing empathy towards them. That's why even though we don't own the problem, because we are so empathizing, we are so like friendly for them, especially a freelancer, we are actually owning their problems as well, right? All right, so here clients know the true complexity of their situation, and they know what will work in the culture where they live. So like in a freelancing job on a BPO company, when you work on a BPO company, you need to adapt the culture of the client that you're working with. So for example, if you're working in a client, US based client, you need to adapt their culture, and not it is not them who's going to adapt our culture, but it is you as a BPO employer, as a freelancer, who's going to adapt their culture, so that you will have a better understanding about the situation or about the business that you're dealing with. All right. So I'm gonna give you as well the benefit of a process consultation in a minute. Alright, so here are the list as well of the principles of, or process consultation principles. So here, first is always try to be helpful. We all know that Filipinos are very helpful, even if it's too risky, even if we know that we cannot resolve the situation on a single call or like in a day, we still try to be helpful rather than anyone else, right? And then next thing, moment here. Duha man na siya kana duha man nakasapi o. Duha jud kay ani. Pinapa na ko na buta. Ako kapi ra ko ana. Ito yung apis pang gabi. Ayun. Alright, so I'm sorry to keep you waiting this long. So right here, next will be the process consultations principle. So the process consultations principle is, first, always try to be helpful, which I discussed to you earlier. Second is, always stay in touch with the current reality. So here, as what I've said earlier, accuracy is the best, or honesty is the best policy, alright? So access your ignorance. So even if you're a process consultant, we cannot say that all the information that you have is, or you are really expert in doing the job. No, yeah, there are some instances that you have ignorance in dealing some situation, especially when you're not familiar with it, so you have to deal with it. Alright, so next is, everything you do is an intervention. So positivity with everything that you do. Next is, it is the clients who own the problem and the solution. So it is still client-based information. You are just a process consultant, so everything to do, or everything that you need to do is based on the client's information, or the information that you gather from the clients. It is just depends on you if you're going to exceed from the, or if you're going to exceed from what the client is expecting. All right. So next is go with the flow. Just go with the flow. And that's it. Alright, so here next will be, timing is crucial. So time is gold according to them. Most client doesn't want to waste their time. As well as what I've mentioned earlier, client wants to spend their time wisely, so most of them are hiring a process consultant in order for do their job, or in order for do the job specification that they are not really familiar with. Okay, 8. Or next, be constructively opportunistic with confrontive intervention. When we say opportunistic, take responsibility of the information, or of the situation, and also adapt on, or easily adapt on the opportunity that might deals in the possibility of the prospects leading into the intervention of the process consultation. Alright. So everything is data. Errors are inevitable, and learn from them. So not all information, or not all the way you are very accurate in doing the process, especially in process consultation. So there are times that we might tend to do mistakes. So that could be easily, like, we can actually disregard that one, actually, if that is a database information. Alright, so next is, when you're in doubt, you should share your problem. So once again, as a process consultant, you shouldn't work all by yourself. So asking for help it's not really necessary, but when you're not really familiar, or when you're not really sure about the job specification that you have as a process consultant, then seeking help for me is really necessary in order for you to do an accurate information, and in order for you to have the best answers, or to exceed or to give more information, and to exceed as what the client is expecting. So there are two consultation models. The first consultation is the expert. Alright, so they're actually about the selling and telling information. Second is the doctor patient's client information, or consultation model. So the expert model, the expert or telling and selling model of consultation assumes that the client purchases from the consultant some information or expert service that he or she is unable to provide for herself. The buyer, usually an individual manager or a representative of some group in an organization, defines a need and concludes that the organization has neither the resources nor the time to fulfill that need. She will then talk to a consultant to provide the information or the service. Right? Here. Next will be the doctor model. So the doctor-patient or a physician model also has appropriate and inappropriate applications. In this model, the patient or client simply describes symptoms, Then the physician or consultant diagnoses a problem and decides on a solution. This model may be appropriate in some cases required when the patient or client has little or no knowledge to contribute to the physician's consultant's decision. So for example, when you're sick, you'll basically go to the hospital and ask for a doctor's assistance or ask for their help and ask them as to whatever medications that they might give you in order for you to relieve on like pain that you're dealing with. So for example, when you have been diagnosed with something else and then your doctor recommended you to do that, you are basically doing, or your doctor is not actually like depending on themselves. They're also doing research basically on an accurate data. They're also doing research as to what is the best, for example, if they're going to prescribe you any medications, because here I myself I'm actually working in a pharmaceutical healthcare account, so most doctors actually are needing some help from a pharmacist to actually determine as to what is best or what's the medication that works best towards the client's symptoms or category of symptoms. So that is how the doctor's model as a process consultant doing the job. All right.